I'm gonna start. A long time ago, there was a whale, and this whale's name was Billy Goat because he was a billy goat. He really liked climbing rocks, but because he was a whale, it had to be underwater rocks. And it was very different for Billy Goat, the whale, because the mountains are a lot bigger underwater. But as a whale, they're smaller because whales are big. Billy Goat had the dilemma of he wanted to climb the Everest of the ocean, which was called the Evernest, spelled a little different than Everest. His goal in life wasn't to just climb Evernest, but to do it with his best friend, whose name was Mountain Goat, because Mountain Goat was also another whale. Also, he really liked climbing rocks, but his more forte was once he got to the top of the rocks, he would jump off and then make the biggest whale spout you could ever imagine. So Mountain Goat and Billy Goat decided to go climb Everest one Sunday morning. They said, I think today is the day we can do it. And so the night before, they had a big deal. And it was their whole families came out, supported the going away party. They made them a nice shrimp soup with lots of other particles to carb load for the big day they had ahead of them the next day. And before the meal was over, they made a toast and they said, to Everest or bust. And so that night, Billy Goat and Mountain Goat, the whales, set out and sleep first, obviously. And then they woke up bright and early because you have to get an early start. But in the ocean, when you're super deep down there, there really is no time. So they just decided that they would just go at some certain time. Anyways, they started the long trek, which wasn't actually too long because they're freaking whales. And by the middle of the day, they had made it to the top of Everest. However, at the top, there is something that us humans like to call a shark. And sharks and whales normally don't coincide just because the size difference. Obviously, whales are bigger than sharks. And so it was surprising to see a shark up there because a shark normally doesn't climb Everest, especially alone. Sharks like to climb in packs because they normally run out of food, so they have to bring other food, and that makes just carrying backpacks a lot heavier for the sharks. Anyways, at the top of the mountain of Everest, there's a shark, and he's all alone, and Billy Goat and Mountain Goat were saying, what is a shark doing here? So they went up to the shark, and they asked him, hey shark, why are you here? Why are you on Everest all by yourself? And they had a peaceful conversation that was politically correct. They did not come in with any preconceived notions or any judgment, and they used no triggering words, so it was a very good conversation they had with the shark. And the shark pretty much told him that he was just trying to find his inner being, that he felt that being a shark was no longer the calling, and he wanted to be a vegan, actually, after all. And so the whales really spoke into his life and said, we are vegans too, although sometimes we stumble. And they learned the lesson that even though they stumble sometimes, being a vegan is still better than being a meat eater, even if you stumble. And so they told the shark this. And after the shark heard this wonderful news, he had what we call an epiphany, and then went and shot out of the water and did a belly flop. Now, the whales were very happy to find out that they had a new friend named Geyser. And so their new friend named Geyser, the shark, was very happy that he had found a new purpose in life. So after they made it to the top, they're all chilling there. They realized that they were hungry. They said, man, I could really go for a cold one today. And in the ocean, what they mean by cold one is an ice chunk with frozen food in it. And normally, because they're vegan, this food has to do with kale or kelp. Kelp and kale are the same fruits that are from the ocean. Kale is not actually a land plant normally. It's harvested in the ocean. So they went and they found a cold one. on the ocean, and they popped it open and enjoyed some nice cold frozen kale. It's nice and crunchy. It goes down a lot easier for some reason. I think the particles just get better. It's still a little bitter, but it's not too bad. So then Geyser, Mountain Goat, and Billy Goat they're all bros now. Then came along probably one of the scariest things ever. A tsunami. The tsunami was unlike anything the three of them had ever seen before. They said, "We were prepared for climbing Everest, but we never imagined there would be a tsunami." And whales and sharks they're not used to surfing, so they're very confused at what to do with a tsunami. So as they're at the top of the mountain, which is probably one of the scariest places to be in a tsunami, as they were there, they're like, "What are we gonna do? Like, we're kind of screwed right now because there's a tsunami coming and we're at the top of the mountain." Lo and behold, almost like an angel ascending out of the depths of the sea, because that's where the angels come from. They come from the bottom of the sea when you're in the ocean. Everyone knows this. When the angels came, it wasn't an actual angel, but it was like an angel. They're very religious people. Anyways, and out of nowhere, a bottlenose dolphin shows up. And they called him Six Pack, because like bottle nose, kind of like some drinks that we normally associate with bottles. Anyways, his name was Six Pack. Pretty chill dolphin, I'd say, even though all dolphins are chill, but he is more chill than the average dolphin. He's like, "Oh, bro, what's up? I saw dudes. We're gonna go hit this sick tsunami wave later today." And they're like, "Oh man, we've never hit one of those before. We're just a bunch of whales and sharks. Like, we don't really do that whole surfing thing." And then Six Pack was like, "Oh, bro, it's all good. It's all good. I'll teach you the ways of the ocean, y'all." And so, lo and behold, they got their first surf lesson on a tsunami. Normally, dolphins train themselves by doing a little shore break surfing and just getting pitted a couple times. They don't normally start with the big thing, but like Six Pack was like, "Oh man, these sharks and whales, I think they got it. They have the spirit and they have the passion because they just climbed Everest." And so, as this huge tsunami's coming because of this like earthquake in the ocean or something. Anyways, this huge tsunami's coming, and they're at the top of the mountain still, just so they could catch this wave even better. And they see it in the distance, and they just stop. Literally, like the world freezes. And then they're like, "All right, it's now or never." This thing is bigger than the biggest mountain they've ever climbed, which happens to be Everest, which they just climbed. And so they're like, "All right, what are we going to do?" And so Six Pack's out, we're like, "All right, guys, it's all about speed. Once you see the wave, you start swimming the same direction the wave's coming. So once the nice barrel comes over, you just get enveloped in it and then let the wave take you." They're like, "Is it that easy?" And then Six Pack says, "Oh, bro, it's so easy, bro. You just do it." And so they're all going for it, and they're like, "All right, we got this." So Mountain Goat, Billy Goat, Geyser, and Six Pack all start swimming like they've never swum before. And whales, they're kind of like big trucks almost. So like at first they're really slow, but once you pick up to speed, they're hauling. Whereas dolphins and sharks are a little more like that initial speed, kind of like a go-kart, like pew pew pew. And so you got those three, or you got the two dolphin, or the dolphin and the shark. They're going pretty fast already, and then behind the whales, they're catching up. And this wave's coming, and you can just see the fear in the wave's eyes because the waves are actually alive. Anyways, they start catching the wave. They start catching the wave, and it's crazy, unlike anything they've ever experienced before. As they start going down the wave, they just feel the wave take them, and the cave starts to form around them. They're like, "Wow, it's like we're free, but we're not." And they begin to lose sight of the day because the waves breaking over them. And as they're surfing it, Six Pack's just having the time of his life. It's probably one of the bigger waves he's hit. And the rest are like kind of scared, but they got that beginner's luck, full of adrenaline. They don't fear anything at this point, and they're just going for it. And then it's like over all of a sudden. Like the ocean's quiet, the tsunami is pretty much gone, and they're all wondering like, "Wow, did that just happen? Like, it's kind of that like disbelief of something that's just like so good that like you don't really know if it actually happened. So finally, they just like, all right, like now what? Now what? What is the purpose of life now that we just surfed the biggest wave that the ocean has ever known? And they decided nothing compares to being a vegetarian. And so, Karis, I hope you enjoyed the story of Six Pack, Geyser, Mountain Goat, and Billy Goat. And if you ever find yourself in a low spot in life, just turn on this movie, and then wonder why you are a friend of me. And yeah, peace.